Well, for more on this, let's go to James Dorsey, a senior fellow at the S. Rajaratnam School of International Studies in Singapore. Thank you so much for your time. Firstly, Saudi Arabia has been criticised for its human rights record in the past. So why are they taking such a hard stance now?
I think you've got to see this in a broader context. The Saudis, in terms of their reputation and image, are on the defensive. One, because of the Yemen war, which has sparked countries and parliaments, as well as human rights groups, to demand an arms embargo against Saudi Arabia, as well as because of its human rights record, both in terms of the arrest of activists, such as the women who were in recent months arrested, as well as other activists, religious figures, and of course the anti-corruption drive, which was really a power grab in which very prominent businessmen and members of the ruling family were detained. And all of that, of course, does not install a great deal of confidence in the way or the system of governance, if you wish, in Saudi Arabia.
Yes, and we mentioned there some of the measures that Saudi Arabia has responded with, the recalling of its ambassador, freezing of trade, stopping of flights, also the pulling out of students, or thousands of students from Canadian schools. Do you think Canada has a lot to lose here? Will Canada be forced to, I guess, repair this relationship before Saudi Arabia does?
Canada obviously stands to lose in terms of arms sales or military equipment, as well as in terms of a large number, 15,000 Saudi students at Canadian universities and medical treatment that is being sought by Saudi nationals in Canada. I don't think that that is sufficient to force the Canadians to back down on this. I also think that you're dealing with a much broader problem, and that is an effort by countries, Saudi Arabia, China, to use economic leverage to force other countries to be silent about whatever criticism they may have. Fact of the matter is that the Saudi Arabia is a signatory to the human rights conventions. Those conventions supersede national Saudi law, and under those conventions, it is permissible to criticize another country's human rights record.
Yes, so you mentioned there that perhaps Saudi Arabia is trying to send a message out to other nations to stay out of its affairs. But Saudi Arabia is also trying to increase rights within the country, especially towards women. Do you think Riyadh is trying to make a concerted effort to address its human rights record there?
Not at all. Let's be very clear about this. Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman is not a defender of civil rights, or even, for that matter, women's rights. He deserves credit where it's due, and indeed, he has lifted the ban on Saudi women's driving. He has allowed women into sports stadiums, and he has enhanced women's ability to participate in the labor market. Now, all of those things are, for him, not about civil rights. They are about economic reform and taking the kingdom, if you wish, into the 21st century. Saudi Arabia has to diversify its economy. It wants to become a cutting-edge knowledge state. To do that, it has to make sure that half of its population, women, many of whom are better educated than men, have the ability to compete in the labor market and opportunities. That's what this is about. The most fundamental restriction on women's rights, namely the fact that a male guardian, be that her husband, father, or even son, is the one who determines whether or not she can travel, whom she can marry, whether she can go to university. That's a fundamental issue that Crown Prince Mohammed has not touched.
Okay, so still a long way to go. James Dorsey in Singapore, thank you as always for your analysis.